It's like, really? Really? The Commander-in-Chief of the United States Army, Armed Forces, Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States, learns about a scandal on the evening news? Does anyone other than me want to call BS on that one? Because I sure as heck will. Because, and this is why I'll say this, is because as President of the United States, he is the head, like I say, he's the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. He is the chief diplomat. He's the chief Secretary of the State. In other words, he handles all state affairs. Basically, he is the number one guy out of, the State Department, the Justice Department, everything. He is the main guy. If he doesn't know, then there's obviously some communication issues in the White House. But I would bet my bottom dollar that he knew every single one of these scandals, and he was behind each and every one. Now, all those scandals that I listed off, each one in itself is a treasonous and impeachable offense. But you put them all together, and I don't even want to guess on what the jail time would be. Well, actually, in the Constitution, treason is there's only one crime for one punishment for treason, and that's death. I have no problems with that. I mean, if he's found guilty of treason, then yeah, he should be hung up like the Benedict Arnold that he is. So that's the other thing. I mean, looking into all these scandals, and other radio show hosts here on the Spreaker, I heard one just say, with all these scandals, we heard about the Benghazi hearings, and then we heard nothing. And then, then it was the IRS hearings, we heard nothing. And then the Associated Press hearings, we heard nothing after that. And to that, I guess I have to say, well, one, they were committee meetings. And two, with all of these scandals, it's got to come. If you know the wheels, the way the government is supposed to work, the committee, has a hearing, they come up with their ruling or their findings, and they present it to the House or whatever, or the Senate, and they go from there. So with all these scandals going on, I think they're just trying to get all the information that they possibly can from whomever they can that will call in, or come in and testify. Just recently, I watched a video in the Ohio House of Representatives committee meeting where a computer programmer testified before the Ohio House Committee that yes, the 2012 elections were rigged. Let me repeat that in case you didn't hear me. A computer programmer in Ohio has testified and said that the 2012 presidential elections, at least from in Ohio, were tampered with. At least 25% tampered with. And the computer programmer goes into detail on how easy it would be for this to happen. And basically just saying all you need about 100 lines of code. Now, for those of you that have a little programming background, web design or computer programming or whatever, you can basically say, yeah, 100 lines of code is not that much. I mean, I've seen websites that have over 1,000 lines of code. But here, an election machine or a program that's put into the machine literally will give you a 51-49 vote either way you want it to go. And now, I do know one congressman or woman asked the computer programmer that what about the Scantron sheets that you feed into the machines? He said, oh, those are easier. All you do is put in a program and put a flag in there, and if someone votes, for someone, let's take Obama and Romney, the last election. Let's take my vote. If I was in Ohio and I voted for Romney, and I did. I voted for Romney, and I put that Scantron into the machine, it would flag my vote and switch it to Obama. So, you have to ask yourself, okay, is there any way of detecting this? And that's actually what one congressman actually asked. And the computer programmer said, no, not really. The only way that you could possibly confirm this is with the hard data, the actual votes themselves, and compare them to the, what the electronic election results were. That's the only way that you could do it. Now, if someone gets rid of the electronic election results or the paper copies, you have nothing to compare it to, thus you have no case. So, but at least 25% of the Ohio vote in 2012 for the presidential election came from non-existent people. So, I'd be kind of curious to see how many of those people are in the local cemetery or that don't even live there. We've heard stories of other election frauds in Chicago. In Chicago, Illinois, where a somewhat elderly lady is being charged with voter fraud because she went to the booth or to the polls and voted for 7 people. Just herself, she voted for 7 people because they either couldn't make it or she gave some excuse. But I'm just thinking, like, 7 people, really? The election officials allowed her to come in 7 different times or grab 7 different votes and fill them all out? I mean, where were the election officials on this one? So, now, if you couldn't tell, I got my youngins in the background. This is why I usually do the show late at night, is because they're sleeping by then. So, do forgive me about that. So you might hear some youngins running around. So, but I'm interested to hear on what you have to say. So I'm going to open up the phone lines, the Skype lines. If you want to call in, tell me what you think about Obama. It's internet radio, so don't worry about FCC regulations or dropping any profanities or anything. We don't have to worry about that. But if you want to, give us a call in. The number to call in is area code 507-216-7672. That number again is 507-216-7672. The Skype ID is the.resistance1775. Again, the Skype ID is the.resistance1775. So lines are open. I'd be willing to take your calls, questions, and I'm even willing to debate a liberal. And now Mike in the chat room, he's saying the officials are baking pies. Yeah, who knows what they're doing? I do know when it comes to government and stuff, nothing happens quick. I do know that, and I do know that there are a lot of congressmen and committee members, whether it's the Judiciary Committee or the Oversight Committee or whatever, that really, want to get to the bottom of this. They want answers, as well as the American people, and as what we deserve those answers. We deserve to know why 4 Americans, including our ambassador, were killed in Benghazi. We want to know why the president and the defense secretary, Leon Panetta at the time, decided that they didn't need congressional approval to go into Libya. All they needed was international approval. And you can actually find that on YouTube, Leon Panetta actually saying that. And the reaction of the chairman was just, it was priceless. But, but you go to Fast and Furious, and, all the, you take we're sending guns to Mexico and everything, and now Mexico wants registration records for all gun owners living in Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California. Basically, every state that borders Mexico, they want the gun registrations for those people. Well, 1, why would you want them? 2, if anyone gives them that information, there'd be hell to pay. I know there'd be hell to pay, because if there's one thing that I have learned in my year and a half of broadcasting so far, and the people that I've met, is the one thing you don't do is you don't mess with Texas. Do not mess with Texas, because they won't hold any punches. I mean, there's already legislation in the Texas House about seceding from the United States and becoming its own country again, which, I say bravo, and I hope Texas does it. I really hope they do it. And I was just told not too long ago that 35 state governors are not happy with the federal government, and if we can, we have 35 on board. If we can get just a few more up to 38, then we can start what's another Continental Congress, and start this country brand new again, with the same Constitution, obviously, and and same rights and that we have today. Let's just take out all the crap. I mean, why do we have the IRS? Ted Cruz, Senator Ted Cruz came out recently saying, get rid of the IRS. Get rid of them. Just have a flat tax rate and have your taxes so simple that you could fill it out, and I'm quoting him, fill it out on the back of a postcard. I mean, how easy would that be to fill out your taxes? No itemizing, no earned income credit, no this, that, or, bringing in your check stubs for medical expenses, and just a flat tax that you can fill out on the back of a postcard. And really, how many people do you need to process all that information? I can tell you don't need the IRS to do it. And in fact, as far as I know, the IRS is not even a government agency. I mean, if they are a government agency, I would really like to know what department they're under. Okay, for instance, the TSA, Transportation Safety Administration, the gropers. They're under the Department of Homeland Security umbrella. The Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, all the armed forces are under the Department of Defense umbrella. Where does the IRS, where do they fall under the umbrella in government? And while we're on the topic, where does the Federal Reserve fall in for the government? I mean, this is a private company. We have a private company basically printing out money left and right, devaluing our dollar more and more every day. Countries that once, had faith in the dollar are now leaving the dollar and giving the United States us dropping our credit rating. Canada has done it. England has done it. France has done it. Germany has done it. Pretty much all of Europe has done it. And guess what they're going to? They're going to the Chinese yen or the Japanese won. And some, yes, are even going to the European euro. The European euro is actually more stable than the US dollar right now. How bad does that sound? That sounds pretty bad. And especially what's gone on in the EU recently and stuff like that. But, I mean, literally, we became, as all great empires, the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, the British Empire, and now the American Empire. All the other empires before us have fallen, and so shall we. We will fall. Our empire will fall. There's no doubt about that. The question is what will come out of the ashes when it falls? What phoenix will arise from the ashes when all hell breaks loose here in the United States? And it will break loose, folks. It's not a question of if it will break loose or whether it'll hit the fan. There's no question of if. The question is when. And I said this in the last episode. Honestly, if we get to 24, or not 24, The 2014, there you go. If we get to the 2014 midterm elections, I'll be surprised. I will be